Hey, Gator Nation. Welcome back to the Respect Our Decision podcast, episode 48. As always, I'm your boy Hirsch, and with me back again is the hype man, Wes.
What's good? What's good, Get Nation? Happy to be back.
And as always, CJ, the man McCann.
What's going on, guys?
Hey, guys. Brand new week here. No commits this week, man. It's been a minute since we had no commits to talk about. But hey, Hirsch promised you a few weeks ago at the end of June, we'd go through and we'd talk about, how this class shaped up after the month of June. And that's what we're going to do this evening. We're going to go through position group by position group and kind of say where we think this class is at as of now, kind of the halfway point, maybe a little more past the halfway point. But and talk about what we think each group has and if it's complete or incomplete, needs improvement. And just hit it up and talk about maybe some guys that are still out there that we're after. But as always, guys, make sure you go out, download us wherever you get your podcast from. And if you're checking us out on YouTube, maybe this is the first time watching the show, hey, go ahead, hit the subscribe button, drop a like on the video, and leave a comment down below, guys. It would help us a great deal. And if you entered in for the giveaway last month, we want to go ahead and tell you we're going to do the drawing for the giveaway on next week's episode. Obviously, this is a holiday week. I had a lot going on the last couple of days. Wasn't able to go through, get down all the people that subscribed, liked, and left a comment. I'll be doing that this week, and we'll be doing that giveaway for the Scared Money Don't Make Money t-shirt from our good friends at Alma Mater. And if you want to go check out any of the other merchandise that they have, we'll drop a link for their website in the description below. Check out our good friends at Alma Mater, man. They have some great merchandise, including the new golf swinging Gator hats and tees and things of that nature to go support our national championship, golf team. So check that out, as well as some of the baseball merchandise they had. Support those guys like Jack, who's still going to be here. That goes towards his NIL and things of that nature. All right, boys. Well, we're going to jump right to it, man. No real recruiting news right now. The staff is on vacation. They're taking a well-deserved couple weeks, refreshing themselves before they jump right back into it, man. We got the cookout at the end of July on the 29th. That's going to be the big recruiting event that previously kind of was Friday Night Lights for us. Now the barbecue is going to be the big, hey, let's get the recruits together, try to get some more commits piled up. But there's not a whole lot of room left. And that's what we're going to talk about is who's still on the board. So we're going to go ahead and start right off the top. Obviously, quarterback DJ Lagway has been committed since last December. I think we can all agree that is satisfactory on the quarterback position. No need improvement there. Obviously, we might go for another portal quarterback after this season. I wouldn't be surprised one bit, depending on what happens this season. CJ's having some error. Got it there. All right. Had a little feedback, but we're good. So we're going to move on down. We're not going to spend a lot of time talking about DJ. We've said everything that you can say about DJ Lagway in the quarterback position at the University of Florida. Running back. Now, obviously, we've had some shifting at the running back position with Chauncey Bowens decommitting, flipping to Georgia. We have Kanan Daniels in this class. So, CJ, I'm going to go to you first on this. Do you think we need another running back in this class? Is this running back room still needs improvement?
Yeah, I'm going to put it needs improvement because I think there's room to grow there, whether they do that in the portal or they get another back, recruiting-wise. It's just one of those positions where I think that we have a really running back-heavy offense, and you need as much depth as you can get. Now, at this point, you could definitely make the case that we probably need some more experience depth, considering where we're going to be next year with Cameron Carroll and Montrell Johnson most likely gone. You're only going to be left with one season back, and that's Trevor Etienne with a sophomore Trayon Webb and a freshman Kanan Daniels. So it's definitely going to be like you really want somebody who's a pretty experienced guy in that offense. So when they do that, I'll bump that up to satisfactory. But right now, you need some more depth, and that's nothing against Kana Daniels, but he's still a freshman. He's going to be a freshman when he gets here. He's going to need somebody else to play with, to really round out that room.
One name I want to throw out there, maybe to keep an eye on for that second running back that hasn't really been brought up. We haven't brought it up on this show. Is Derek McFall.
Mm-hmm.
He's a player out of Tyler, Texas. Keep that name in mind. I just wanted to put that name out in the atmosphere for you guys. Let you know that that was a possibility going forward. That maybe he gets a look if someone else falls through. I also know that they're still trying to look at Lyle that went to and committed to Ohio State. That running back position. I mean, unless they're going to flip somebody else, that spot's getting kind of tight. I mean, I know Stacey Gage is still out there that could possibly be flipped from UCF if that was a road they wanted to travel, but I don't much foresee that being. Wes, I'm going to go to you with wide receiver room, man. Obviously we got Jeree Hawkins committed, a couple weeks ago. Isaiah Williams, the speedster from Tampa. We got two really, really fast guys in this wide receiver class, but you need one or two more for sure. And I'm putting that still it needs improvement too, especially with 5-star quarterback in the class. What do you think about the wide receiver room as it currently stands?
Yeah, I agree with you. You want to kind of have at least maybe one top 100 receiver. When you have a quarterback the caliber of what we are bringing in with DJ Lagway, you want to be able to have a guy that you feel. Not saying that this could happen, but you want to feel like this guy can compete to start day one as soon as he steps foot on campus. That's the type of guy when you got a quarterback like DJ, and we feel that way about Eugene Wilson and Andy Jean now. We feel about that. We feel that way about those guys. So it doesn't mean that the guy has to be top 100, but you should be able to look at the film and say, yeah, that guy probably can come in and translate into a day. And I don't think those two guys right now they're going to need to come in. I'm not saying that they can't, but based on what I saw in the film, they do look like guys that that they're going to need some work in. And I like Billy G to develop those guys into guys that can be able to possibly play doing in the future. But I'm still looking at a guy like Chance Robinson and Jeremiah Smith. I want those two guys in the class. And to your point, that the wide receiver room definitely needs improvement, especially when you got a guy, especially DJ Lagway in the class.
And don't totally count out the staff still working TJ Moore as well. We know he committed to Clemson, but the staff, as we've said several times, they never give up on these kids. And I wouldn't be surprised if you hear TJ's name come up down the line as well as a kid they're still trying to, get flipped over. All right, Wes, I'm going to actually, no, I'm going to go to TJ real quick before we let Wes vent on the offensive line a little bit. TJ, what am I saying here?
Did it twice. I was like,
yeah, really?
I thought we were talking about a commit.
I thought he was going back to Moore.
That's what it was. I was thinking about TJ Abrams talking about the daggum wide receiver room. TJ Abrams was stuck in my head. That is another kid, obviously, that's still out there, but I think he's I think we've kind of moved on with him with two smaller speedsters in the class already. CJ, tight end room. I believe it's now kind of said that the Gators are going to be okay with only taking one tight end in this class. Previously, it was said two. Amir Jackson, obviously right outside the top 100. You think we did what we needed to do at the tight end position?
Yeah, I'm completely satisfied with where we're at because you've got a guy that's a really high profile tight end prospect. You didn't get, a 3-star guy that you're going to come in and work with. This is a guy that's a highly rated recruit. He's a guy that can come in immediately, and based on where the tight end room looks like right now, aside from Arliss Boardingham, he can come in immediately and try to get reps and play. So yeah, I'm completely satisfied with the job they did to get a kid like Amir Jackson. Great player. He's an athlete. He's going to come in and fill the role. I wouldn't be surprised if you see him work out with the wide receivers a little bit with Billy G to try to kind of take advantage of his athleticism. So yeah, I know I'm completely satisfied with the job that the tight end room has done to get a guy like that. And, don't count out, maybe adding somebody in the portal because where the tight end room is now, I really don't see a lot of the guys that are there. If they don't break out this year, I don't see any reason why they'll stay. Or, you might end up having to have some difficult conversations with a few of them because you need to free up the scholarships. And, those guys are kind of just hanging on. No offense to them, but that's just kind of, the nature of the beast. So, yeah, I could see them definitely go the portal route with another tight end if we had the space. So, no, but I'm completely fine. Amir Jackson is a great talent, and I'm glad to have somebody like that in the class.
Especially when you say, given that at least at Florida so far, you haven't seen the tight ends get a ton of usage. So, it's going to be tough to sell tight ends until you show some of these guys actually getting some action. I think it's a tremendous job by the youngster Russ Callaway to get this kid in this class. I mean, we wanted Matthews. Obviously, we pivoted after Matthews went to USC and ended up with a great tight end regardless. So I think great work there. We got us a good tight end. All right, Wes, let's talk about the offensive line. I know this has been your nagging point, and we really want to cover this because it looks like things aren't getting better before. I mean, they're not going to get better. They're going to get worse, at least in the immediate future. We have Mescal, we have Mike Williams, and we have the dancing German, Portagen, in the class. Obviously, all these kids, 3 stars.
I believe it's pronounced Portenhagen.
Portenhagen. Okay.
Portenhagen.
Thank you, CJ. That's what we have CJ here for the tough assignments. Because that one, he finally did get ranked. Thank goodness. He came in around 920 or somewhere in the rankings. So that helped us a little bit in the rankings aspect. We watched Callaway this week commit to LSU. It looks like, for right now, until we hear something different at this show, that Westfall is trending towards Clemson as he announces next week. These are both guys that we had on official visits in the month of June. Wes, I think unsatisfactory is probably your ranking, but I'm going to let you tell it.
Yeah, it's unsatisfactory, and I know you guys will probably give an overall grade for the class, or satisfactory. How you feel about as far as the offensive side of the ball? I think we should do that as well. But this group in particular brings me down to a C plus. As far as the offense overall, I give them a C plus. DJ kind of is carrying that as the A plus type guy, but to me, this is a high D. And it's not that I don't like the guys. It's just that you can't get a 4-star offensive lineman. These guys, and to my point, I feel like these guys can be developed. I like he's from Germany, right? The kid that's from Germany. I like his feet. Like, to me, that's key playing offensive lineman. You gotta have great feet to do that. So it's not that I don't like these kids or anything like that, but to me, you gotta get and this carry over from last year. I had a problem with the offensive line and what they were doing last year when you got 2 coaches. When you're making the money that you're making, you got to be able to deliver it. And we can't. And we're selling it like we did with Havacy, or some people are selling it. Well, maybe we can develop these guys, and they have a track record of developing guys. That only goes for so long, you know what I'm saying? And maybe they can do some things in the portal. Maybe that, but as far as we're just talking about recruiting and what in the state of it right now, and they have been very, very underwhelming the last 2 cycles as far as recruiting. I mean, I love Kearney. Kearney's probably he's been the best guy they've gotten out of 9 or 10 guys, and that's not good to me. That they have been horrific. They have to pick it up. To me, they bring the overall class down to a C- as far as offensive side of the ball speaking. Right now, I would love to give the class a B, but I'm at a C- because what we said about the wide receiver room, love the tight end and the quarterback. To me, are carrying the whole offensive side of the ball right now, in my opinion. I don't know what you guys think will be. Like I said, I hope to hear it because I want to know. We didn't discuss how we felt about it beforehand. So just like the fans will be listening, I want to hear what you guys have to say in general as well. But that's how I feel. I feel like the offensive line and us doing Bowens kind of brought the class down to me.
I don't disagree with you as far as I believe the offense, and since we're sticking with the the satisfactory needs improvement, the offense needs improvement. I mean, the offensive recruiting right now is not matching the defensive side. Now, granted, we did get some great playmakers last cycle. You know, I like what we're doing as a whole, but you lost the quarterback out of the last cycle. So you need to start getting some hits on some bigger offensive guys. I completely agree. I mean, Jeremiah Smith is not going to be the savior of this class, obviously, but Jeremiah Smith a guy like that would absolutely catapult and make the offensive class be like, you wouldn't question a lot of things. Now, is that likely to happen? No, it's not. Unfortunately, I'm not going to sit here and say that it's just a matter of time. If Jeremiah Smith happens, it's going to be one of the biggest recruiting coups of all time. But yeah, you need to flip maybe a TJ Moore or Chance Robinson. Yeah, you need to go out there and close on a Jordan Seaton.
Yes,
as an offensive lineman.
Jordan Seaton needs to be current this year. Seaton needs to be.
And you probably still need you need 5. From what I've heard, they'd like to take 5 offensive linemen. So you still got to find one more in all that shuffle. Like you said, you can't live in the world of projects, because for every Osiris, there's going to be 5 to 6 that are just that may not pan out. It's a tough road to hoe. CJ, what would you grade the offensive class at this point?
The offensive class, it needs improvement. There's some things that need to be addressed. Offensive line is one thing. I like Mike Williams. I like Mr. Portenhagen, and I like Maskell. I think that they're 3 pretty good prospects. The problem is you need to start to crack up into that upper tier of prospects when it comes to offensive line, because we don't have a lot of those guys already. You need to change that, because we don't have a lot of depth there. You cannot rely on the portal to produce talented starting offensive linemen, because most of the time those guys have jobs and they ain't leaving. Then you run into the mess of just the portal, like we saw with the young man from San Diego State. You have to deal with a whole bunch of crap trying to do that, because it's like free agency. So that's something you don't want to deal with. Again, like I said earlier, you definitely want to try to get another running back somehow because of depth issues. Unless, the only other way I could see, that all panning out with just taking one is by some stroke of luck that Montrell Johnson decides he wants to play another season, which I don't really see happening if he does what he did this year again. So, again, you have DJ, and DJ's great, and I love DJ, and we all love DJ, and we want DJ to be here, and we're thrilled and over the moon to have him. But it's kind of like you can't you can't have the one great star, and then you can't look at anything else. It's not. It's like he sticks out in a bad way. You know what I mean? Like he just sticks out. Like it's like, wow, that guy's really great, but like, where are the others that you should see with him? You see like these great things that like Georgia does, or Texas A&M would do. They'll get a 5-star wide receiver, and they'll get a 5-star running back, and they'll get a 5-star offensive lineman. Then we're not doing that. Not to say we're recruiting bad players. Again, I don't have a problem with who we have. I think we have a very good, solid class. I'll put the offensive class higher than West. I think it's a B. I think it's solid. But there's so much more that you need to do if you want to take the next step. And like you said, last year you took 3 wide receivers that I expect to be main cogs in the offense for years to come. Those guys, I don't feel like Mizell will burn his red shirt this year. I think he'll probably get it, because now with the rules where you can play in 4 games and still keep your red shirt, I could definitely see Mizell doing that and staying, keeping his eligibility for another year. I expect Gene and Wilson to play, so definitely not going to redshirt him there, but they'll, that's to me more of a benefit for DJ coming in next year. So there are some pieces that we have added, and of course Trayon Webb is here, and then you have Trevor Etienne for another season. So it helps. You've got some guys, but you need to really start to beef up these big impact playmaker guys, because you need guys that can come in and contribute as early as possible in the situation that we're in right now. You can't take guys 4 or 5 years to develop, because you really don't have that much time, and Billy Napier knows that. So hey, whatever they feel like they need to do now, but I think I'm going to put it at a B for now. I think there are some things that can be done, that can be fixed.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that whatsoever. Like we said, this isn't a bad offensive class. So before anyone gets upset and thinks that we're trashing the offensive recruiting as a whole, we're not. We're absolutely not. We're just wanting us, like, Wes put it out there a long time ago. This was the class. This was the class that was going to be Billy's, go forward, show him what you're made out of class. He's established relationships. You've done all that legwork. Now it's time to put it together. And there's just a few things that are lacking. Now, some of it is, especially offensive line. There isn't a good class of offensive linemen, especially in the state of Florida this year. It's very lacking in talent-wise on the offensive line in the state of Florida. So you're having to go outside the state to try to get a lot of these guys, and it just hasn't helped. It hasn't worked out. So that's one thing. And the same, outside of a couple of receivers, the receiver class in Florida wasn't what it usually is either. But and then you have Brian Hartline out there taking taking whoever he wants. So there's still plenty of time to get a few of these things done. If you wanted to flip, maybe if you wanted to keep working a Chance Robinson, if you wanted to get a second running back, go out there and push hard and put your chips on the table for a Jordan Seaton that's at IMG. Plenty of time to fill the few gaps that are left that would really make this a complete satisfactory offensive class. All right, guys, we're going to slide on over. We're going to talk about defense, and I kind of grouped this together. Like, I kept the edge guys with the defensive line. We're going to talk about the defensive line as a whole, because Chaos has really kind of put himself together another solid defensive line class, it looks like here. Obviously, there's a few chips still on the board. We'll talk about that in a second, but you've already got, starting with edge, you got Jamonta Waller in the class. You've got Burrow in the class, the big-time defensive tackle out of Hampton, Georgia. You got Nasir Johnson out of Dublin, Georgia. You got Amaris Williams out of North Carolina. This has been a really good, solid start to the defensive line recruiting. Now, you still have LJ McCray out there. You still have Robinson, the defensive tackle in Orlando, even though that one looks like he may be heading to Texas. But you've already really done well at the defensive tackle position. So, and you still have some guys like Jordan Ross out there that's heavily considering Florida. CJ, what would you currently grade this defensive line class at?
It's got to be, to me, an A, satisfactory, or even exceeds expectations. These are solid players. You've filled necessary positions. You've added an edge who, by all accounts, should probably be a composite 5-star if
On three would get their ish together.
Yeah, if On Three get their damn head out of the sand, they figure it out. So you have him, who's like the jewel to me of that side of the football, and then you've got Amaris Williams, who again is another kid that if On Three would get their head out of their ass, he'd be much higher than what he is. Burrow is a guy that's not going to shoot up charts because he's not going to put up a bunch of stats, because it's not what he does. But he fills a position of being an absolute monster on the D line, and same thing with Nasir Johnson. So you've really beefed it up to add with the guys that you brought in last year on the D line with Will Norman and Cersei and Kelby Collins and those guys. So you really kind of got yourself a young nucleus of players that are going to be coming in to kind of flip over this defense that you're probably going to see. I think a lot of these guys are going to make immediate impacts. But I have no complaints with the defensive line.
Me either. I think chaos and Mike Pete still needs to show a few things. I'm just going to put that out there. But as a whole, this defensive line class is matching up real nicely with the class you brought in last year, plus the transfer portal acquisitions. Defensive line has instantly gone from what seemed like a weakness to a real strength. I love what we've done. But what I love even more is what Jay Bateman has done this cycle. Jay Bateman in this show was a leading contender for outing Jay Bateman a cycle ago. You know, Bateman got us was a hashtag that we came up with. And Bateman does, in fact, got us. We've said it over and over again. Wes, I'm going to let you talk about this. Darius Hayes, Miles Graham, Aaron Childs. This is an A+, you know, exceeds expectations linebacker core in my eyes. What do you say?
Yeah, it definitely exceeded expectation what we were thinking. And last year, and we said this on a couple podcasts. Well, I know I've said this on a couple podcasts. We saw the on-field improvement of Bernie, and we were saying to ourselves, if he can recruit like we see the light switch turned on for Bernie, he's going to be a hell of a guy here at Florida if he can do that. And he proved us right. I mean, he didn't prove us right. He did what we were hoping that he would be able to do. And just like it's this old saying, the linebacker position is the quarterback of the defense. Where the recruiting reflects that, we got a 5-star quarterback, and we damn near got 3 5-star linebackers. So Bateman is doing a hell of a job. Nothing. I don't think I need to elaborate on this for a long time about it. I mean,
no, we've kind of talked. We've begun to sing Jay Bateman's praises for a while now.
Yeah.
And like you said, I mean, this is 3 dang near top 100, depending on what ranking services. You know, they're all pretty good. On 3 is really dropping the ball on some of these rankings. Darius Hayes is down there under 150. Graham is somewhere in the same ballpark. On 3 has not been our friends. I think they're about to do a re-rankings. I believe CJ had told me that a week or so ago that they're getting close to doing a re-ranking. So hopefully,
all 3 of them are top 100 though, but they should be top 50. All 3 of them should be top 50.
What can you say? I mean, this is the best linebacker haul we've seen since the Urban days. It's not even close. Yeah. But studs across the board. To go with Jaden Robinson, who we already thought, just by seeing the small samplings that we've seen, is an up-and-comer that may have been underranked last cycle. But, of course, he moved from safety to linebacker, so he was still learning the linebacker position. Now he's going to be coached. The things you hear are – at first we heard kids didn't like Jay Bateman, but that seems not to be the case from things I've heard lately, is that kids really like Bateman, that he's got a lot more personality than people put out there. But he's a hard-nosed coach at the same time. And hard-nosed coaches get things done, man. I mean, you know, like you said, we saw the improvement in the room. Shamar James is going to look to really show that going into this year. He's got the ability, if coached and developed correctly, to probably be an all-SEC caliber linebacker. So we're going to see real quick. All right, we're going to shift to the DB room. And this is one that, you know, we all love Corey Raymond. There's no doubt about it. Everybody loves Corey Raymond. But this room right here is incomplete right now. Now, it's hard to complain when you have a 5-star safety in your commitment class already. Xavier Filsaime, outstanding prospect. And then you have Josiah Davis, who's still kind of a project. That's kind of why I got tripped on that word. You got one that's a great prospect and one that's still kind of a project. And you've got a board full of kids that are still out there that you're still really pushing for. You've got Bam Bam Mincy at Mainland that you're still pushing for. You've got Jamari Howard that for some reason we can't seem to get him on the campus. It's kind of, you know, we were trying to get him all June and stuff kept coming up. And now, you know, it's kind of that, hey, you pretty much need to see this kid show up for the cookout or things might get kind of iffy on Jamari Howard. You've got Foster, who's going to be probably committing this month, that we look real good for. But that kid's kind of an unknown right now. Raymond loves the kid, but there's not a whole lot of out there on him, except that he looks good when he works out. He hadn't been playing football that long. And then you've got some other guys down the board as well. You've got Wardell Mack out of Louisiana, who's going to be visiting again possibly this month. But Corey Raymond has some work to do. CJ, what do you feel about this DB room?
Yeah, D's improvement is where I was going to go. I'll throw out another name. Don't give up on Jameer Grimsley.
Yes, absolutely. Yet. I meant to mention that, but thank you.
I know how these guys recruit. I know how serious they are. How late Florida got in on the recruitment of Jameer Grimsley to make his top 3 when he never took an official visit. Things moved fast with him. It seemed like, maybe Alabama rushed that commitment because they didn't like the way it was going. So definitely just don't keep an open mind about him. Not saying he will flip because, most of the time, the percentages and everything, all that good stuff says, kids that commit usually stay committed, and that's fine. But I'm just saying don't throw him out. Don't, discount him for sure. I think that, Alabama isn't as locked down, tight-lipped about their kids as like Clemson is. We see Alabama's kids take visits all year. Nick Saban just feels that confident in his ability. So, that's another guy. But you're definitely at a place where I don't think it's even close to finished taking shape. You're taking Josiah Davis, who I feel like Josiah Davis is a more of a special teams piece because of his kick return ability. So I don't even know if you really could add him to the DB class. I understand that's the position he's listed at, but I don't, I'm not completely sold. That's why we recruited him. And then Phil Sami again is the 5-star talent, the second best or the best safety in the class, depending on where you look. So, you're definitely showing that you can do it. And another thing with Raymond, if you go and you look at his all-time recruit commits list, you'll see a lot of names that you recognize, a lot of guys that are in the NFL that have 3 stars next to their name because he's that good of an evaluator and that good of a developer that I think he, definitely has earned his, we're going to wait and see, approach. I think it's earned us being patient because he is that good. So, don't doubt him. He's the man when it comes to this stuff. So, definitely just incomplete. I don't think there's a fair way to judge him yet. I think we give it till December and then we'll talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say the same thing about Corey Raymond. He's a hell of a football coach for a reason. Now, I'm not trying to say the same, go in a different direction than we can keep a different energy than we were saying about the offensive line coaches. Corey Raymond just has much more of a proven track record when it comes to these kind of things. I know Rob Sell has put guys in the NFL, and I'm not saying that he hasn't. But that was, he was also coaching at a different level then. We got to see some SEC caliber.
and Raymond had a good haul last year, so he's shown his haul last year was fine by me as well.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Jakeem Jackson way down, almost borderline, 3-star when we first went after him. And then by the time, the end of the cycle, he's up there top 100. I mean, and that's, you want to see those kind of things again. Teddy Foster is one of those guys that I feel like is going to rise greatly. You see a lot of big schools are courting the young man, Miami being probably the number 2 school right now in the running for him. But once again, you want to see these guys get closed on. You want to see, obviously, Mincy should be almost a layup. You never want to say that in recruiting, but he should be. And hopefully we see that come about soon. You've seen some kids come and go too, like Denson committed to Michigan State, but Denson was a kid that had his chance. He had his chance to be in this class. He played around. He went to Alabama because he thought Alabama was being serious. That didn't happen. He went to Oklahoma, thought he had a chance there. Played himself out of that too. So you see out all the time. These kids, they think they're going to end up at a school. Chris Jones also being a very notable guy in that situation. Chris Jones had his chance when he took his official visit. They told him, hey, if you want in on this, you better get in on this, or else, you shop, we shop. And he went ahead to go check out Georgia, and that's probably where he's going to end up. And there ain't nothing wrong, I guess, with ending up at Georgia as a linebacker. I mean, it's not like it's not like you ended up at a bad school. But if you wanted to be at Florida, you played yourself out of it. This is how it has to happen. I'm glad to see the staff making these kind of moves. So, guys, as a whole, where are we at right now? Wes, I'll start with you. As far as the defensive class, are you satisfied with the defensive class is right now?
Yeah, I would give the defensive class an 8. I mean, and that's with, if you look, our weakest position group, we went through 3: D-line, linebacker, secondary. And we say the only one that needs improvement is secondary, and we're gonna have 2 5-stars on the team, and one of them is from the secondary, and that's the one that needs improvement. So, you know what I mean. So that's where we at there. We love the D line class. I mean, the linebacker class is an A+, and we only have 2 commits in the secondary right now, and one of those is a 5-star. And like you said, we should have 2 Xaviers hopefully here soon. So whenever that kid decides to commit. So I mean, I'm happy. We know about the improvement that we say that they need. But as far as secondary is concerned, but this is an A for me as far as this class. I'll give A- just because the secondary still have to do some stuff. But I mean, I don't know what else. I want another. I wouldn't mind another guy on the D line. Linebacker is set. You give me Xavier Mincy. Hopefully, you talked about Howard. Hopefully, we can get him on camp. Hopefully, the cookout he can come. We can do some things with him there. We think we're good for Foster. I'll be happy if we can get those 3. I know 2 of those 3 probably feel more better about than Jamari Howard, but I'm got to get his class an A- right now.
All right, CJ, what do you got?
I give it a B+ just because the secondary is lacking. Like you've got a great player, but it's just you need some more pieces. And I'm not saying that won't happen because again, we're just now starting July. We're in the mix for a lot of kids. You're going to see a lot of commitments, between now and into August. So I'll give it a B+. It's right there on the verge of being an A. Just need to see more from the defensive, back side of the football. And I think that, Corey Raymond's going to do that. So I don't think it'd have any problem. These are just like midterm reports, right? You can always get better. You can also get worse, but you can always get better. And I think we're going to be getting better here pretty shortly.
Hold on, Hurst. CJ, so just a quick question. So you gave the offense a B- and the defense a B+. But I feel like they're so far away from each other.
CJ's keeping it real, man. CJ's just keeping it real.
That's why I'm asking, like, because the offense, that offensive line is.
I want to say one thing. I want to say one thing as a thought process here. This isn't where we're saying the class is like going to end up. This is where we feel like it is right now, with plenty of pieces still to be added. And I know some people are going to listen and be like, "How can you not give this class an A?" You got to remember that we're also projecting a lot of this too. Like, this is where we're at, and still saying that there is work that needs to be done because obviously you're not done yet. Go ahead, CJ.
To be harder on the offensive guys like I was. But
I have been as hard as I possibly can be.
Pause.
Oh man.
Phrasing.
Jesus.
I'm gonna mute my mic. I'm muting myself.
Lord,
go ahead, CJ.
This is a family program. There will be no cussing on this television program.
Easy there, baby Billy.
No, but I think it's fair. I think the offense has done good stuff because I like Isaiah Williams and I like Jeray Hawkins. I think that we're really down on a wide receiver room with 2 guys that are absolutely electric athletes that don't get enough credit. They're going to show you exactly what they can do. Jeray Hawkins is higher than any of the wide receivers that Florida State's got at the moment. So, I mean, I hate it for you, but he's a great player. So, and Isaiah Williams is a guy that I think is going to rise up boards through the year because he's that good. I think you just added two wide receivers that are starkly different. You don't have the 6'5", 185-pound kid that can go up and get it like Jeremiah Smith, and I think that's why everybody's so down on it. But you look at Amir Jackson, who's a great talent. He's almost knocking on the door of a top 100 spot. You've got three offensive linemen. Yeah, they're 3 stars, but they're all massive. They all have a great build. It's not like we got kids that are 6'1", 220 pounds like John Hevesy. So, these guys are great players. And then you have a quarterback that is arguably the best in the country. He's definitely in the top 3. So I'm not going to downplay the offense as bad. I think B- is solid, especially with what we did last year with gaining wide receivers and getting a good running back. So I'm going to keep him there. I think there's some spots they need to make an improvement on. And again, it's just one of those things where it's like the defense to me is you're putting in an incomplete grade, so it's going to bring down everything else. Now, if you start once you get with say Mincy, we're talking A-, A+, because you've rounded it out, you filled your needs. So definitely some things to work on for sure. But I think that the defense needs to add another piece on the D line and another couple of defensive backs, and then we'll be set. But where they're at right now, just because we're not complete there yet, I think that we're going to be talking like a different story in December. I think we're going to be extremely happy by the end of this thing because where we're at right now, we've set ourselves up to finish extremely well.
I agree with you.
I agree.
I'm kind of at the same spot too, though. Like I'm at that B+, and I'm only at B+ because we have to fill out these remaining spots. Not because I don't think that we have an absolutely fantastic base to this defensive class. It's unbelievable. Now, you go out and you add Mincy and LJ McCray and a Teddy Foster, and let's say you take Kendall Jackson, who we haven't even spoken about yet, but is highly likely on July 20th to commit to Florida as of right now. I mean, those are 4 guys right there before you even talk about do we get Jamari Howard, who's 50-50 probably right now with us and FSU. But he does need to show up on campus again. Let's just put it out there. He needs to show up again, or else then you're going to have to pivot. But say you don't. But say you keep working a Jameer Grimsley and flip that kid, who we haven't been recruiting that long. Remember, this is a kid that we made his Final 3 for that never took an official visit. So that recruitment is not over yet. He just had been recruited by Bama longer, felt more comfortable at the time, and made his commitment. You see kids do it all the time. You also see kids change their mind and say, well, you know what, I'd rather maybe I'd be a little closer to home and things like that. We'll see how it shakes out. But right now, I mean, as total at 17 commitments right now, at the end of June, 1st of July, we're the number 3 class in the country. There's nothing to be tremendously upset about. Yes, offensive line recruiting could be a little stronger, we feel. We all kind of agree with that. That's great. We do need one more wide receiver that's probably of a bigger body type to go with the 2 speedsters that we've got that CJ talked about. We do need at least two more guys in that defensive back room. And if you top that off with let's throw out a fantasy here, a Jeremiah Smith or a Jordan Ross, one of those guys, I don't want to say Jamari Howard's a fantasy because we've been right there at him since before he decommitted to Michigan State. So there's some names out there that you're still on the board for. And remember, guys, if you're still here listening, as we've rambled on a little bit, there will always be a guy or two that pops up that we haven't even talked about. Always. And I didn't even throw Jordan Seaton into that, who's the number 43 player in the composite rankings right now. So if you were able to close out on him, if he stays there, that's another top 50 kid that gets added to this class. So there was a time where I didn't think this class could be top 5 because I did not think we were going to take the numbers. And now that I think we actually are going to take the numbers, because I think the staff feels way too good about too many kids not to take 24 to 25 kids. Top 5 class is there to be had. You absolutely can achieve it. So where we're at right now, I think as a whole, we're satisfied with the class. We did a great job in the month of June. Obviously, that 7 commit stretch really, put us where we needed to be. We're just here to talk about, hey, where do we need to go from here? And that's what we're kind of getting at. We need another good or 2 offensive linemen. Yes, we need 1 more wide receiver. We need 2 to 3 more DBs. And yes, we need a couple more defensive linemen. LJ McCray, Kendall Jackson, Jordan Ross, whoever fits, fit wherever we fit those pieces out. And this class could be the most damn amazing class we've had in a long, long time at the University of Florida. And then you start talking about where we should be. So once again, guys, this isn't an episode to bash what it hasn't been done. This is more of all right, this is where we're at. What do we need to make this class amazing?
Yeah, exactly. You give me a seat in the offensive line is amazing.
Yeah. You've absolutely okay. The doubts start to subside. You know what I mean?
Jesus, if you got me Westfall, I'd be over the moon. If you made a phone call that changed his mind, I'd be over the moon.
And we say Westfall as of now, we feel like committing to Clemson. You know how these things go. At this point of when Mescal was supposed to commit, everyone would have told you he was LSU. And then 5 days later, he commits to Florida. I mean, the staff's working, man. Like I said, they've been on vacation. I think they get back this weekend, and then hit the door running. But don't think just because they're on vacation, they're not making phone calls and text messages and everything else too.
Yeah, they're wakeboard, man. Come on.
Yeah, they ain't wakeboarding in the lake. I can tell you that right now. The way Billy Napier works, he probably didn't even really take vacation. He probably took the kids down to Disney World for a day and came on back. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up. That's all we really wanted to do with this episode, was kind of talk about where we are and where we'd like to go between now and December. And then, of course, you still have till February if you miss on a couple of guys and whatnot. The class is heading in a great direction. I think we all agree with that. I know some people will say, well, we need this and we need that, and that's what we're here to talk about. We have the time. Last month it was, hey, man, Wes, hey, it's freaking June.
June.
Calming them down, man.
Now we're top 3 class, 17 commitments. It's freaking July. We got plenty of time now. Time to get serious. Narrow your board. Narrow your focus and say, all right, these are the guys we're zooming in on. We got like 15 to 20 kids that we really want, and they're getting all our focus. And you can give them that because you've got these other guys already done.
Yep.
Great job by the staff.
The ones helping you recruit now.
Yep, absolutely. And you've seen almost all these kids at this point shut down their recruitments. It's a fantastic job all around by the staff. We're very pleased with what we've seen, and that's making our job a lot more fun here on this podcast. So, guys, thank you so much for tuning in, listening to some of our rants and rambles. Hopefully you agree with some of the things we said, and I'm sure some of y'all have a different opinion than what we said. If you do, and you're watching us on YouTube, first off, make sure you're subscribed. But after you do that, leave a comment down below on what you think you'd like to see this staff do, and give your grade down below. Yeah. Go ahead, down below. Satisfactory, unsatisfactory, needs improvement. Break it down if you want to, man. You got a lot of characters you can use in the comments. So go ahead, drop it on down there. We'll read them. We'll drop a like or leave a comment to your response. We love it. We appreciate it. And as always, guys, make sure you download us wherever you get your podcast from. CJ, you got anything to add before we jump?
I just want to make sure you guys remember to always support us as creators on all our platforms on Twitter, Facebook, the YouTube channel. We're going to, like I said, we got Patreon stuff coming up pretty shortly. We're going to start announcing things we're going to start doing over there to try to help out now that YouTube's kind of up and floating good. So check that out, and also keep checking out our friends at Alma Mater. They just celebrated a birthday today. I think they've said they've been in business now for 12 years, so congratulations to them. Make sure you check out their products. Use our link in the description down below to get, it helps us out, it helps them out, lets them know that, we sent you, and keeps a good word in for us so we can keep doing cool stuff for you guys with them. So we really appreciate all the support you guys have given us. And, let's keep pushing. June was a great month. Let's push on forward through July and August. We got football coming up. This month is the last month with no football. July is it. July is it. We go back to football next month, the 31st. We're going to be kicking off in Salt Lake City. So it's creeping up. It'll be here before you know it, guys. And then we'll be in full gear hitting the ground running.
Yes, sir. All right, Wes. We didn't have you last week, man. Send us home.
Yeah, appreciate it, you guys. And as everybody knows, yesterday was Independence Day in this great country we live in. So thank you all, servicemen and women out there who serve in our armed forces. We thank you guys for what you do, so we were able to celebrate on yesterday our freedom. Don't take that for granted. I live close by here to Shaw Air Force Base, like 15 minutes or so. So not even 15 minutes, probably like 5 to 10 minutes. So, but anyway, I love what you guys do. Thank you guys. It gives us the ability to do what we're doing now, which is do this podcast to you Gators fans out there. So thank you all for supporting us. We love you guys. We appreciate you guys. And as always, go Gators.
Go Gators.
Go Gators, guys. Catch you next week.